Okay, the Quran in 19. Shut your mouth, dude. No, nobody wants to hear anything else you have to say because you're a liar and you're disingenuous. Okay, I warned you not to talk over me and anybody else, and now you're in here cursing at people and you're manifesting because you're part of a force and false religion that makes you believe that the idiotic false correlations that you establish are actually truth. Unfortunately for you, reality does not line up with anything that you're saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's episode of Guess That Prophecy comes to you live from Brother Maverick's stream. A Muslim caller jumps in, waving Surah al-Rūm like it's his golden ticket, saying, "Look, the Romans won, so Muhammad must be a prophet." But wait, hold the popcorn, because Maverick isn't buying it. He takes that so-called prophecy, runs it through history class, sprinkles in some logic, and basically says, "Bro, this is less divine revelation and more like betting on a football team with inside info." And trust me, it only gets messier from there.
I think of true prophecies that were very unexpected to happen.
Such
Like,
as?
in fact, in Surah al-Rūm, he prophesies the overcoming of the Romans to the Assassins, while at the time, which was 615 AD, it was very improbable for them to win.
So you think that that's a prophecy?
What?
You think that you believe that that was a prophecy?
Yeah, I mean, that's a prophecy. It's in Surah al-Rūm.
Okay. Now here's the reality behind what you're saying. Okay. First of all, the Romans, right? They were in the Byzantine Empire, right? And their wars with the Persians were common knowledge across the Middle East, right? So I don't know if you're making the assertion that he didn't know about it, but it was very common knowledge. These wars were.
Wait. He didn't know about it.
He what?
That's why he was making a prophecy.
He didn't know about it?
He did know about it.
Okay, yeah, I know. That's what I just said, right? Now.
Okay, that does not make the prophecy really a bad prophecy.
What?
Is it? No, like, he made this prophecy in 615 AD, right?
Okay. 615?
Okay. Yeah, right. And if you look at the geopolitical landscape of the time, it was extremely unlikely for them to win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't, and that's what I'm about to address, because what you're taking something that he said as a guess and you're acting like it's a prophecy. So what the Quran says is that the Romans would be victorious in a few years, but the Arabic word used, which was sinīn, yeah, it just means anywhere from 3 to 9 years. Okay, which is a pretty wide window. Now, if we look at historical sources like the Byzantine records and secular historians, it shows that the Byzantines did make a comeback under Emperor what was his name, Heraclius, something, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Now the problem is none of that was secret news. None of it. As a matter of fact, it was already expected because Heraclius was known to be reorganizing and counterattacking at that time. This wasn't some mystical. Stop, brother. Stop.
Yeah, but
stop.
okay,
Stop. Okay, so he made a guess. You're trying to establish a correlation between him making a guess because he already had information about what Heraclius was doing, and even then,
no. And you're saying a lot of historically improbable stuff.
Mahmud. First of all, I'm explaining to you why what you're saying is not a prophecy, but I'm going to be very clear with you that I do not allow people to continue to no. Just like when you gave your little statement and I let you talk, do not interrupt me. Okay, you will get your turn to speak. Okay. All right, but I am giving you a rebuttal, and I'm doing so based in reality in history. So do not cut me off. All right, because it is a quick way to get booted. I don't allow that. Give me the respect that I give to you. Got it? Now, if we look at critics, all right, like Tom Holland and Patricia Crone, they point out that predicting the rise and fall of the empires in a region at war isn't the same as giving a supernatural prophecy, which is what I was trying to get to. It's right here in my debate brief. So here's a problem. When Muhammad made this claim, there was no specific name, there was no date, there was no miracle. He just made a broad claim. And then, surprise, it ended up being true within the possible range. Okay, congratulations. He said that at some point they would win again within a certain amount of time. He didn't even give a specific number, a number of days, months, years, whatever. Okay, and we established that by what the original Arabic word was used in the Quran, bid sinīn, right? So if that's your best proof that Muhammad was a prophet, then Julius Caesar and every ancient historian were prophets too, because they made predictions that ended up coming true. Saying that something is going to happen and then it happening is no different than when you bet on a football game, especially when you have information about what the Roman emperor was already doing behind the scenes. That makes absolutely no sense. So I'll let you rebuttal if you want, but it doesn't really matter.
Okay, can you address the specific date of the prophecy and show me the prophecies which these other historians and other Heraclius made, right, in the exact wording?
In the exact wording?
Yeah, in exact wording. Like, go to your source and read them to me, and also tell me the date at which they were being.
Well, I gave you the. First of all, I gave you the names of these individuals who made it clear that this wasn't a prophecy, right? You came in here and you made a claim about him being a prophet.
Yeah, but
so the burden of proof is now on you. I'm making it clear that people who have actually studied these prophecies are making it clear that it was not a prophecy, right? So again, you believe that Muhammad is a prophet, and you're saying that because he said, well, the Romans would at some point win this war or win these battles, it means therefore he was a prophet. If that's the best you got, you're gonna have to do a lot better than that.
I really don't understand how it was not a prophecy. It was very much a prophecy. He's prophesying something in the future.
He made a guess. He made a guess that he didn't even give an accurate date for. He just said something was going to happen eventually, and it turned out to be right.
Yeah, but you see, for a false prophet, he would not have done such an improbable.
It wasn't improbable. Mahmud, it wasn't improbable. What makes you think it was improbable?
It was at 15. It was at 15 AD. Do you know how it was for Romans at the time?
Okay, so
do you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, George. We can hear you.
For about 7 years.
Okay, Mahmud. So you're taking something that he so happened to get right about a wartime battle that you're calling a prophecy. So then you would have to be able to reconcile, if you think that makes him a prophet, then why did he fail in so many other prophecies, right? Because Muhammad predicted the end times would happen within the lifetime of some of his listeners, and you can look at Sahih Muslim 7136. Guess what didn't happen? The end times didn't happen. Okay, so you know about it, right? Okay, great. He also said that the world would end before a certain boy grew old in Sahih al-Bukhari 6619. Again, did not happen. To say nothing of the scientific errors where he taught that the sun sets in a muddy spring in Quran 1886, right? He claimed that shooting stars are missiles. Hold on. Because for the one thing you provided, you have to be able to reconcile all of the things that he said that are verifiably false, demonstrably false, right? Because as far as I know, shooting stars are not missiles to chase away devils, as it says in the Quran 67:5 and in Sahih al-Bukhari 33:20, right? He also said that the creation of a human in the womb is a drop of sperm that turns into a clot, then flesh, then bones, then the bones are clothed with flesh. In Quran 23:13 and 14. That's what it says.
That's not how biology works.
Okay.
And it copies Galen. It copies Galen.
And it copies Galen.
And
exactly.
An ancient embryologist who got it wrong, obviously. It copies him word for word.
Mm-hmm. He also said that Mary, Jesus' earthly mother, is the sister of Aaron. Somebody who lived countless years before her. In the Quran 19:28. He confused Mary, the mother of Jesus, with Miriam, the sister of Moses and Aaron, who lived centuries earlier. To say nothing of moral contradictions, where he claimed in the Quran that there should be no compulsion in religion in Quran 2:256. Yet, he also ordered fighting those who refuse Islam in Quran 9:5 and 9:29. I mean, this goes on and on and on and on and on, brother. I don't understand where you're trying to convince this panel that because this man guessed accurately that at some point the Romans would win a battle, therefore he's a prophet. We're gonna ignore everything else that he said that's absolutely ridiculous, and we're gonna ignore all of his behavior that was 100% reprehensible, and we're gonna say yes, he is a prophet. Does that make any sense to you whatsoever?
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna address your sister of Aaron thing.
Mm-hmm.
This woman died, who is by the way, a revisionist scholar of Islam, actually refutes this in his paper called "The Quran and its Hypertextuality in Light of Redaction Criticism." I can read it for you right now.
You read whatever you want.
Should I read this all for you, or should I just read the important parts?
Important part.
Read the important parts. Yeah, whatever you want, man. You said you put it in chat, right? Because I don't see it.
I don't see it in the chat. This church was related to the feast of the memory of Mary, which was celebrated on 13 August, at least from the end of the 16th century. I'm just gonna read.
Mahmud, just to be clear, which one of the 9,000 things that I told you that Muhammad got wrong are you approaching right now? Is this about Mary not being related to Aaron?
Yeah, that's
okay. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Then mentions another oracle, right? And the prophet Jeremiah said, "His coming will be a sign for you and for other children at the end of the world, and nobody will bring forth the hidden ark from the rock except the priest Aaron, the brother of Mary. And nobody will unveil the tables therein, nor be able to read them, except the lawgiver Moses, chosen of the Lord." Yeah, that's in the election in the of the Catholic Church. So that actually uses this as proof that
you said that's in the lexicon of the what? Hold on, stop. Hold on. You said that's
hypersexuality.
Mahmud, where did you say that was found?
In the lexicon.
Of where?
So.
The Catholic Church.
This is the error.
Yeah,
this is the error. We saw this.
Mahmud, two wrongs don't make one thing right.
Go ahead. Hold on. Everybody stop. Let word as the way come up with what he's gonna say, because I already know.
We encountered this earlier in the live stream where a Muslim came on and he was saying that what was that Bukhara?
Predated the Bible, and that the Bible plagiarized. Yeah.
And he was not specifying, and we suspected that he was referring to the King James Bible. Now, when you examine, some of us we're dealing with like an Anglicized or even a Hellenized version of some of these names. Now, the mother of Jesus Christ, who we call Mary in English, like the Hebrew tradition would be that her name was Miriam. So they're conflating that Miriam with the Miriam that is the sister of Aaron and Moses.
Which is what I stated.
You were just talking about Moses and Aaron.
Yep.
That had nothing to do with Mary. Jesus Christ.
Yep. As a matter of fact, the Quran
was not a valid source.
No, it's not. Not even close. And let me explain.
These numbers that prove that the 6th century and 7th century Christians used to connect the priest Aaron.
Well, Mahmud, here, first of all, we're aside. Hold on, stop. Hold on, Mahmud, stop. Because you're Mahmud. Stop before I mute you, bro. Stop.
Mahmud,
learn some self-control. Stop.
Do we need to shout?
Dude, shut the fuck up, George. Just let me hear the guy.
All right. First of all, watch your mouth, bro, because you're not listening, and you think that repeating a lie over and over is eventually going to make it true. The reason that I'm telling you that is because you're making claims. You're making claims absent of any evidence. You stated that you dropped your sources in the chat, which you did not do. Okay, because I don't see it. Grafted didn't see it. George didn't see it. All right. Word didn't see it. Nobody saw it, but you're claiming to read something that is completely just disjointed. So I'm going to educate you on your own religion. Okay. The Quran in 19. Shut your mouth, dude. No, nobody wants to hear anything else you have to say because you're a liar and you're disingenuous. Okay. I warned you not to talk over me and anybody else. And now you're in here cursing at people and you're manifesting because you're part of a force and false religion that makes you believe that the idiotic false correlations that you establish are actually truth. Unfortunately for you, reality does not line up with anything that you're saying because the Quran in chapter 19, verse 28 literally calls Mary, the mother of Jesus, sister of Aaron. So your little ad hoc explanation would literally have to skip over the plain reading of what it says in your own book in order to mean that what you're saying is true. That, again, like so many other things in the Quran, my friend, is a massive chronological blunder, just like the rest of Muhammad's life, okay? Because Aaron and Miriam lived 1,500 years before Mary, 1,500 years. So unless Her parents got into the DeLorean with Marty McFly and the professor, went back 1,500 years, did some crazy stuff, and ended up being related to Aaron and Moses. It makes absolutely no sense. No sense whatsoever. Okay? I don't understand how much more clear we can be about this, right? Now, the problem for you is that even the earliest Muslim commentators noticed the problem. Right? They tried to explain it by saying that people used to call righteous women by the names of prophets, sisters, or brothers. But there is zero evidence of this being a regular practice in the first century in Judea. There's nothing in ancient language, any manuscript evidence whatsoever that makes it clear that that was terminology that they used to describe righteous women. Didn't exist, right? So if you have to dig...
Neither in the Bible.
Neither in the Bible, okay? So if you have to dig into some late church lexicon or election document from centuries after the fact, you're basically admitting the error, okay? Now, as for Jeremiah or the Ark, none of that has anything to do with Mary being related to Aaron. There's no biblical or historical tradition where Mary, the mother of Jesus, is called the sister of Aaron. None. Not in history, not in church manuscripts, not in church tradition, not in the oral tradition, not in secular documents, nothing. It doesn't exist. And as if you look at any serious historian, right, whether you're talking about Christian or Jewish or secular, all of those people know that this was a mistake in the Quran's text, probably from mixing up Mary, who was the mother of Jesus, and Miriam, who was the actual sister of Aaron. So when you sit there and you try to say the things that you're saying, you do understand that everybody here noticed that you didn't drop anything in the chat. You didn't share what you were actually reading.
Here's the thing, guys. Real prophecy isn't about vague guesses or wide timelines. Anyone can say, in a few years, something big will happen. Heck, even your grandma reading tea leaves could pull that off. What separates true prophecy from cheap predictions is specificity, accuracy, and consistency. And that's the heart of it. You can't just grab one vague hit and ignore the misses, the contradictions, and the historical blunders. A real prophet doesn't get to be right once in a while. Truth doesn't work like a broken clock. So what does this show us? That critical thinking isn't optional, it's essential. Don't be dazzled by claims that sound impressive until you shine a light on them. Question, test, verify. Because at the end of the day, if your proof for divine truth requires mental gymnastics, it's probably not from heaven, it's from the circus. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't just sit there looking prophetic. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss when we pull back the curtain on debates like this.